Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for an all new special inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. We are here in this edition of the Bearcat Break Room with Tymu Chenery, Binghamton men's basketball student athlete, here inside of the 2024-25 season. As you know, here on Wake Up Call, we go throughout the Binghamton Bearcat family to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration. And today is the day to tell the story of Tymu Chenery. Tymu, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. And Tymu, first and foremost for you, you're a grad student over at Binghamton right now. What was it about Binghamton University that kind of spoke to you and made you feel like this was the right place for you, not only to be an athlete, but to get an education as you're here currently in a graduate program?
First to start, I transferred from Quinnipiac my junior year.
Yeah.
So that was last year. My first year was last year at Binghamton, and just in the recruiting process, they were really consistent with reaching out to me, and it felt genuine. I'm kind of a religious person, so I kind of follow energy, and I just had like a gut feeling that it was the right decision to come to Binghamton, and then to stay and come back, kind of the same thing. Coaches being genuine, um, that feeling. And for my last year, I knew what to expect here, and know that the coaches, they've been transparent with me, they've been real with me, so definitely didn't want to, leave and go out somewhere and then you don't know different things. And you know how the college game is. There's so much, especially with NIL and all this stuff. It's so much, talking and things that don't come true. So I just chose to stay with what I knew and people that were genuine to me and real with me. So that's why I came back, and I think I definitely made a great decision, and I'm happy to be here.
You opened the door to a lot of things in our conversation in that response, Tymu. And one of the things is the fact, like you said, people promise a lot of things when it comes to NIL with name, image, and likeness. We're seeing right now that there is even a case that's currently up right now in Division One men's basketball of student athletes going after a coach who made promises to them in NIL that they're claiming they didn't keep. What can you say to where NIL is in this space for you as a student athlete, and that we're living in a world where people are getting recruited, essentially, I mean, getting recruited for money, not for an education, not for the team, not for the culture, not for the atmosphere, but essentially getting recruited simply on the basis of money, and then having promises that are not kept from coaches saying, yeah, we're going to give you this, or maybe a school, or maybe a company, whatever it may be. How are you looking at this as a student athlete? Because you said you're not doing it for the NIL, you're not doing it for all this stuff, but some people are, and some people have not been told the truth. How do you look at this as a student athlete, name, image, and likeness, and promises that are not kept?
I mean, it's a tough situation. Honestly, I'm kind of with the players on this sense. I think it's been so many years. I mean, with NCAA, I mean, if you just look at it, you look how much money, basketball, I mean, essentially, I mean, we just focus on basketball, how much money basketball brings to a campus, especially on a higher level. I mean, like, it's crazy that, guys weren't getting paid. But then it's a kind of fold where, you know, at the end of the day, you want to get money, but I feel like everyone's dream, at least I would think like everybody I know, like their dream when you want to be a Division One basketball player and you want to play professional and you want to, take it to the next level or go to the NBA or play overseas or just, you want to play professionally. So I think that, your love for the game starts. So I think if you just, I think we just have to, I think students just have to focus on the love for the game and let that be the main thing, and then everything else will take care of itself at that point. And then you will find the genuine coaches because they're out there. Not every coach is out here lying, but I feel like when you're kind of just chasing the money and just worried about the money, not worried about the love for the game, then that's when you can kind of get yourself in some sticky situations when that type of thing. But as far as on the coaches end, I think if you tell a kid something that you should kind of hold yourself accountable to it because at the end of the day, kids are, well, you're like 18, if you're like 18, 19, 20. 22, around those ages. So they're pretty impressionable, and they think highly of these coaches, so they're gonna believe what they're saying. So I feel like as a grown up, you should kind of hold true to what you're saying. But then on the flip side, the players had to do a great job of kind of making sure the main thing is the main thing, and that's basketball.
Yeah, and when we see that, I mean, it used to be called tampering, right? You weren't supposed to use the transfer portal and NIL together. It was
Mhm.
supposed to be the transfer portal, and then once you made the decision to transfer, then that school could say, "Okay, we brought you here, hopefully for the right reasons. Now we
Yep.
could talk about getting you some money." You decided to jump into the transfer portal from Quinnipiac. Why did you go into the portal? And how would you describe the transfer portal to the average fan?
The reason why I decided to go in the transfer portal, just kind of like the coaches playing time. Our coach ended up leaving, so that had a lot to do with it as well. Kind of up and down season. So I just thought it was I needed a fresh start, and when I got into the transfer portal, it was rough. Like it was pretty rough. Like I think, to be honest, I think I built a lot of faith through that. I think it was good for me because I built a lot of faith. I kind of learned what the word faith is because in the transfer portal, you kind of just jumping in there, and you're getting all these people like the first day, they might just blow your phone up. Everyone's telling you, oh, you do this, you fit our program as well, like this, and they're just bigging you up. And then like a couple of days later, a week later, you kind of that phone calls start to get a little lower. Now it's like you may get one call or two calls, or some of the coaches that you thought, oh, I can see myself going here. They might have gotten someone else. They might not even talk to you again. So I feel like that whole process really kind of like made me realize what faith is, and kind of just it was motivation for me because it was one of those situations like, bro, like I don't want to go through this again. Whoever gets me, they're going to get a person that's going to work hard, do this. I'm not going to take this for granted. And I feel like I never really have taken it for granted, but I think it was just a wake up call to kind of like show you like how serious it can get. So I think it did. It was great for me. I'm happy that I was able to go through that situation because it kind of built my faith, and it also showed me to not take this opportunity for granted because it can be gone. And then a lot of guys like it was so like what like I don't know, you probably know the numbers, but thousands and thousands of student athletes are going through the portal, and a lot of them don't make it out. A lot of them go D2 or have to go JUCO. So just even being able to go D1 again was a blessing. So I chose not to. I really didn't want to take that for granted, for sure.
Yeah, no, and like you said, and how many thousands are in there. And the thing that people don't understand is when you get recruited and you get to D1 and you got a free education, you have this opportunity in front of you, and then you jump in the portal, you could lose your education, obviously lose the money to get that education, the opportunity to be there, and now all of a sudden you're back in the same neighborhood. You don't have the education, you don't have the access to it. That $60,000, $80,000, $40,000 education's gone now. And so, people forget once you, and I call it's musical chairs. Once the music stops, there's not enough chairs for everybody. And
Hmm.
if we look at football currently, as the transfer portal being open for football, the total number of players among FBS scholarship transfers rose from 1,946 in the transfer portal in 2021-22 to 2,303 in 2022-23. And this past season of 2023-24, there was upwards of 2,707 players in
Wow.
the transfer portal. Now, the total number of NCAA football players across all divisions who have entered the portal in 2023-24 exceeded 11,000 people.
Mm.
And you look at basketball, and it's easy that we could say 1 to 2,000 that have been in there. I want to take a look at college basketball last year. So, college basketball numbers for the transfer portal last year, because these numbers are, obviously football was huge there, and that's currently open. When we look at basketball let me see here. I want to see by the numbers how many in there. So it's telling me when the dates are open. But when we look at the transfer portal here, we have a tracker for 2024-25 because anybody can jump in to the transfer portal. So how many are in the transfer portal most recently for basketball? Let's see what we got here. So the NCAA transfer portal for the 2024-25 academic year will be open for 30 days from Monday, March 24th to Tuesday, April 22nd. So it's not open yet. And how many players entered the portal last season? It was more than 1,800 Division One. So you're looking at almost 2,000, and that's not Division Two. That's not D3. So that's just Division One. I mean, your take on that, Tymu, seeing the thousands of people that have entered the portal. Like you said, you entered the portal, going through it, you didn't want to have to do it again. What can you say when you look across Division One men's basketball and hear more than 1,800 just from Division One entered, not including D1 and D2? When you look at football across all divisions in the NCAA and know that last year there was more than 11,000, you're a student athlete. These are your peers. What are your thoughts?
I just think of course, there's outliers. There's some people that's transferring for wrong reasons, and there's some people that's transferring for the right reasons. I feel like it's just something that you got to make a sound decision on. You have to have a plan. You have to know your worth, and you got to know what you bring to the table, and you got to have faith. I feel like that's really what it comes down to, and you know, there's also there's a lot of bad cases that people point out, but there's also a lot of good cases. I think I'm one of them. I think Nehemiah Benson is one of them. I mean, just look at our team last year. Samir Torrance, he was a transfer.
Yeah.
He played great, doing great things overseas. Nehemiah Benson, he was a transfer last year. He was great. Chris Walker, he was a transfer last year. He's been playing great now. Um, even with Binghamton, I think Binghamton, they had, I think somebody came and wrote an article about the impact transfers have had on Binghamton. So I think it could be a great thing. And I think it does have great light, but there is a dark side of it as well. But I think it's just something you have to have judgment on, and you have to have a plan, and then you got to have faith. I feel like those three things, if you have those, then you can kind of end up well. But, there's also that, a bad take, but it's a risk.
Yeah, and I'm looking across the 2024-25 roster for the Binghamton University Bearcats men's basketball team, and there's a bunch of transfers. You got yourself from Quinnipiac. Now obviously this is your second season with the team, but overall you transferred in. Jaden transferred in from William and Mary. Robbie came in from FDU. We look at, so you mentioned Nehemiah Benson, Arkansas Little Rock for Chris Walker, who I just had recently on the show. Dominic came from Houston Christian University. We saw the University of Delaware for Wes Peterson Jr., Stonehill for Jackson. I mean, the overwhelming majority of your team this
Ben
season.
Callahan for D2, Trinity College,
Yeah.
D3, I think it is, yeah.
So I mean, pretty much this entire roster
hmm
has guys that transferred into Binghamton University. What does that say to you about where we're at in collegiate athletics, that almost every single person on the roster came from another college or university before they came to Binghamton?
And it's crazy because half of our team came from transfers, but even this past year, we didn't have anybody transfer out. So it's crazy. So it's a twofold. Like we didn't have anybody transfer out. Of course we had a lot of people that graduated, so that lost. So that kind of gave us a lot of spots to fill, but we didn't have anybody transfer out. So we needed those transfers. So I think it's good for a lot of, mid majors, that can get talent, of guys maybe playing at a bigger level that have not playing, but they have the talent, they just didn't have the opportunity. It gives them a way to showcase their skills and then come down or go up. And then it helps mid majors as well for the guys that's playing well, get to go up and then showcase their skills. So, it could be a good thing for sure.
Yeah. Here with Tymu Chenery speaking on the bigger picture of collegiate athletics. So to get to Binghamton specifically, you said you're going through this process. There's coaches that'll say different things to you. They'll talk about NIL. They'll talk about this and that. Not everybody's telling the truth. What made you believe in Lavelle Sanders and the staff at Binghamton University? What was it about the way that they approached you, what they said it, how they carried themselves? What not only stuck out to you about Binghamton staff, but what made you believe them?
I always just say I'm a person, I kind of hang out who I hang out with. I'm a very loyal person. I feel like everybody that's really in my life has been there from about the beginning. To be honest, I have the same trainers. I have the same kind of friends that I usually have. I kind of stay with the people that I know, and so I think they just built the trust. And it just happened over time, and it just kept. I feel like they just kept it real with me. Coach B, he was the one that recruited me here. He's been a big part of this, and he's never like steered me the wrong way. They kept it real with me. Even when I didn't want to hear the truth, they told me the truth. So I think they held me accountable. So I think factors like that, are a good recipe, for those are the type of coaches you want to play for. So that's what I felt like, and being in other college situations, knowing what other college athletes go through, and it's a business at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I just felt like these coaches were really genuine with me, and they always kept it real. So I feel like I had to. This was a kind of given choice to stay, and do let's try to have another chance to do something special.
Yeah, like you said, when you got into the portal, you wanted to get in and you didn't want to have to do it all over again. So Binghamton was not a one time decision. It was your decision, through your words, and what I understand is it was your decision to be your last decision.
Hmm.
You had success last year, you did some good things last year, but you said you wanted to do it again this year. What made you commit to Binghamton not once, but twice to say, I will come here via the transfer portal from Quinnipiac, but that I'm going to stay here? I'm going to endure. You said, obviously you've had some turnover. You had guys finish up their time at Binghamton. So it wasn't that you lost players to the portal, but you lost guys who finished up their eligibility. Why did you come back this season with this team, with this university, with knowing that you're going to have new faces coming in from all different parts of the country? What made you believe in Binghamton not once, but twice?
I think a lot was just knowing what my role was gonna be. Coach, Sanders told me, you have opportunity to have this type of role, and that's something that I really wanted to do. I think throughout my whole career, I kind of felt like this was kind of building. It kind of built up, and kind of led to this opportunity that I had. So just knowing the role, and that's kind of one thing as far as the basketball aspect. And then as far as just community, I think everyone here is genuine. Everyone cares. It's a tight knit community. They care about basketball, and we get fans. People like actually like care about the team. Like when we're winning, they. Like you go out, and you're like, oh hey, good game last. That doesn't happen everywhere. So I really felt that the community vibe. And then, of course, like I spoke before, the coaches, just being real, being honest, um, and something I prayed about, and it just made the most sense to stay. And I'm happy I chose and came back for sure.
You've been saying something throughout our conversation, and I've heard it, and I wanted to really take some time with it, but don't think that I didn't hear the echo of it throughout, and that was you telling me about your faith.
Hmm.
Faith is really important to me. It's the most important. God is the most important thing to me. I don't hide away from that on the show, on or off the air. I think it's a crucial part to life. I don't know how people live without it. You have, in everything that we've talked about today, mentioned your faith. Whatever the subject is, whatever we're discussing here on the show, you've gone back to your faith. Bring me into your faith in your life, God in your life, and why it's such an important part of your life that it's in really everything that you do. Everything you've said up to this point has had to do with it. Why?
I think it comes down to a point, and I think there's a Kobe quote. I don't want to misspoke it. I'm kind of transpiring here, but he kind of says like, when you have to like when it's something out of your control and you can't handle it, there's something you gotta depend on. And I think that's just like with life, there's a lot of things, even in the basketball, there's a lot of things in basketball and in life period that you just can't control. Going in the transfer portal, you can't control who's gonna call you, you can't control who's gonna talk to you, you can't control if someone's gonna tell you the truth.
Yep.
But I can control my faith. I know that God is gonna, put me in the best position. So I think I just kind of took a step back out of my life and it's kind of like I took a step back but took a step forward. I took a step back out of my own, thinking I control everything, and I took a step towards Him. And I think once I did that, everything just changed for me. And it's crazy, and it's just like feel like miracles work. And I think that just helped me so much, and it kind of just takes a relief off of yourself because it's like, like even like my decision in the even my decision with coming back to Binghamton, a lot of people were in my ear like, yo, what you gonna do? Like, are you nervous or this? And I'm just like, hey, like, decision gonna make itself. Like, God's gonna put me in the right decision. And I feel like when you have that level of peace, you can just go about things so freely. You can live freely. You can laugh. You can be happy because at the end of the day, you know what's for you is gonna happen. And just taking that approach, it just helps. It just helped me so much. And that's something I try to, spread down to the younger guys and guys that's going through similar things with me. Just kind of just lean into that faith. You can't control everything. So, I just try to live by that. And, it's hard. It's easier said than done. But I
Yeah.
think once God kind of shows you and gets you out of that situation, and for me, it was the transfer portal. Once you get through that situation and see it, it kind of just makes sense. And that I'm happy I went through that. And that's something I try to live by. For sure. And I'm happy that you talk about that in your show. Appreciate that. That's really nice.
Well, I mean that to me, what do they say? God's Jesus said, if you forgive me in front of the world, I'll forgive. Or if you forget me in front of the world, I will forget you in front of my Father.
Mm,
And so to me, there is no amount of money, no sponsorship, no amount of listenership or viewership or whatever that's ever going to take the place of at the end of my life. If I look at God and God says, I know you, but do you know me? I don't want to be
mm.
there. I don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
so, I think it's great what you said. It echoed back to Kobe Bryant of, in a world where you can't control anything, you go to that thing that you do have. When the world's chaotic, when things happen in your life, you go to that faith that is consistent. People are inconsistent. God is consistent. People
Yep.
may come and go. God always stays. People may love you one second, hate you the next. God loves you forever.
Yep.
So I love that you said that because I think the world needs to hear that so much in a world that's constantly looking for something to lean on, something to hold on to, something to know they're going to be that's going to be there. They look to materialistic stuff, they look to followers, they look to money, they look to houses,
Yep.
they look to cars, they look to clicks. But what you just said was profound. The only state like pole that you can lean on in a storm that's going to stay up is God. The only
Mhm.
tree that's going to be there to give you shade on a hot day is God. And I just love that you mentioned it because I think this world is desperately looking for something to lean on instead of just leaning on the one thing that was there before we were.
Mhm.
So I love that. Where did that faith come from? Was that family? Was that you just kind of found it on your own?
It was family for sure, and I think it just a lot of it was on my own too. But mostly, definitely the foundation was for my family, my mom, people that's close to me. But then it kind of, like your mom can tell you everything they want. You gotta go through it yourself and kind of feel it yourself. So once I, kind of going through a situation where, I couldn't lean on myself or something like that, that it kind of just opened my eyes. And then once you get that one answer, you kind of just like, dang, like it's kind of like an epiphany. It's just everything horizon, like everything broadens. You just look at life differently. So I think that was just a key moment for me, and I'm happy I went through that for sure.
Can you like share any adversity that you went through that really helped you to see God?
I would say just my junior year at Quinnipiac, it was a rough year for me. There was a lot of things I was so focused, like I put a lot of work in. There was a lot of things that I felt were out of my control. Like I feel like that's like the key thing. But you know, we were playing good. We were on a winning streak. I was taking up the starting lineup. I'm still working hard. I'm not getting as much playing time as I think I should deserve. I deserve. It was just so many things, and I was just getting frustrated. I kind of lost myself a little bit, and I think my mom just kind of like told me like, you know, you're stressing about this, like you know, like pray, like ask God, like ask him, you know, what you can do, because this is like you seems like you're kind of like doing what you need to, so like try to just, you know, it got to be something else. So that's when I started to kind of fine tune into that, and I would just get subtle answers, and then I think what put it all to the test was kind of like going into the transfer portal and just being in that situation, and then that kind of just getting out of that situation and just seeing how things just align itself just made me like, you know, realize that, you know, this is kind of like the way to go.
Looking back at, and I'm here in the studio looking at some of this right now, your highlights. I mean, you had in the battle for 81 against Lemoyne last season, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. I was at that game. You hit 3-point shots. You also go inside and can dunk the ball home. Do you have a preference between the two? Are you the guy that wants to make that last second deep shot for three to win the game? Or are you that guy that wants to slam it home and put the exclamation point on a victory?
That's a good question. I think dunking is just more fun. You know, it kind of gets the crowd going. Although I like threes, but with a dunk, especially if you can dunk on someone, that's the kind of like that's more fun to me for sure. But shooting threes is cool as well. Sure, but I think dunking for sure. I think that's my. I think I like that better.
Do you have a favorite collegiate dunk of your own up to this point?
That's a good question. Hmm. Hmm. Ah, I gotta think about that one. I'm thinking about it like it's a lot. It's actually a good amount. I'll be honest. Hey, I didn't really think about it that way. I actually do have some good ones. Um, I kind of like we had a scrimmage. I like that one, but it was a scrimmage, so I'm not gonna count. I'm only gonna think about in game. Um, I was on Sports Center actually for a dunk, and it was crazy. It was against Nehemiah's team at Ryder. That one was pretty nice. I like that one. That was nice because it was on Sports Center. So I feel like I have to use that.
So bring so somebody who hasn't seen it,
Mhm.
describe the dunk.
It actually wasn't like I actually didn't think it was gonna be on Sports Center. It was cool, but I think the angle made it better. I had like backdoored someone, so I kind of had a free lane, and like two people, it was one person under the rim that jumped, and then one person came in like out of nowhere, and it's crazy because I didn't even see the second person when I was like in the air, but when I saw it on video, that's when I saw the second person. So it was like two people, and then I kind of like dunked it with one hand with my right hand. So that was, and I kind of like cocked it back a little bit. That was a nice one. Yeah, I'll say that one.
Have you seen Chappelle's show?
Oh, I love Chappelle shows.
So I was just talking about this with my buddy Donald within the last few days. But I feel like if I dunked the ball, I feel like if I didn't say it, at some point in my head, my brain would either say it or I would say it. Where I would have to have, because you go back to that Prince game where Charlie Murphy was talking about playing against Prince and his friends, and then also Rick James. And I
Hmm.
feel like I probably bond the two. And I don't know why I'm thinking this, but if I dunk the ball, like slam one hand over my head, I feel like something inside of me would go, ah, Charlie Murphy. So I want
Yeah.
you, I really do, the next time you dunk the ball or one of these times, even if you don't say it outside, like out loud, if you dunk that ball home, I want you to think of me, and I want you to a little Charlie Murphy,
I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
just whisper it to yourself, and have the guy that you dunked on go, "What'd you just say to me?" And be like,
They
"Don't worry
probably
about it,
like,
man. It's not a big deal."
I might get
But
a, I might get a tech for that or something. They might tech me up. They might not know what I said.
so let me ask you about, so when you're dunking the ball, hanging on the rim. Okay, there's sometimes you can get a tech for hanging on the rim. Sometimes it's egregious. Do you feel like you should be able to hang for a minute? And do you think you've ever hung too long on the rim where you thought you were going to get a technical?
Actually, I just kind of started to hang on the rim because I at one time I think I was like younger in high school. I like hung on a rim and I fell, so that kind of gave me like PTSD. Because if you know your momentum, you can hang on a rim, and then if you let go at the wrong point, you can just boom fall on your back. So I think that happened to me once, and I kind of stopped. And then I think later in my college career, I kind of felt a little better with hanging on a rim. But hanging on a rim, that's not really something I really do. The only time I really hang on a rim is if someone is like under me or like I feel like I might fall on a ball or something to kind of like or protect my fall because I know what my momentum is going so hard. But other than that, I'm not really a hang on a rim type of guy, really.
So we look at the points, we look at what you've done. Like you said, you would like to dunk more than the threes, even though you like the threes. But overall, last season for Binghamton here with Tymu Chenery in this edition of the Bearcat Break Room and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with WakeUpCall with Dan Tortora and Binghamton University. First season with Binghamton coming from Quinnipiac last year, 25 of 27 games you started, 14.9 points per game. You made more than half of your shots at 51% on the season. You had 5 rebounds on average this season so far through 15 games, 13.7 points a game, almost 5 rebounds again at 4.7, over 3 assists per game. And in the 15 games that Binghamton has played this season at the time that we're talking, you've scored in double figures 12 of those 15 games. Taking a constructive, critical look at yourself, how is Tymu Chenery doing this season, in your opinion?
I think I'm doing well. I think there's a lot of things I need to get better. Some things I need to do better. I feel like I'm shooting the ball way better from three. I think my percentages is way up on that, so I'm proud of myself on that. But there's definitely some things, I need to, improve and get better on. But, I feel like my main goal is just kind of just winning. So I feel like if we can get wins, I'm happy. So winning is definitely my number one priority, and that's really what it comes down to. I feel like if I play as hard as I can and I do the things I need to do, and that kind of gives us a chance to win, whether it's scoring, defense, you know, facilitating, as I kind of been showing this year with my assist numbers. But if I can do that and then we can win and it can turn into wins, I'm happy. So I kind of just look at that first, but also, I'm a critic of myself as well. So definitely, I'm always striving to get better each and every day, no matter how the stats look. They can look great. I'm still probably going to find a way to try to get better or do something better.
Yeah, and we look at, you mentioned one of the things personally you want to improve, 3 point shooting, and you've done that. You're shooting the best from 3 point that you've ever shot. First 3 seasons at Quinnipiac were 33.7%, 31.1, 32.5. Last year at Binghamton, 30.3. Now you're at 38.2. This season, almost 40%. It's not like you're shooting a ton more. You're shooting around 4 3 pointers a game. You averaged that last year at Binghamton. You averaged 4.2 in your first season in college, which was at Quinnipiac. You're averaging 4.5 shot this season. So, what is it about your shot that's so much better, that's almost 10% better? If you're not really taking more, you're taking along that average. What is it about your mechanics and what you're doing in the practice world and kind of preparing for the game that has made your 3 point shot better? What are those intricacies that you feel like have turned into a higher percentage?
I think just having a routine, and I think kind of starting from inside and then working my way out. I kind of more focused on, you know, um, my placement in the mid-range area or kind of like my form shooting. I kind of do that a lot and just getting reps up. I feel like I've always been a great shooter and also taking the right ones, like and sometimes I kind of take some not so good one as a coach may say, but so taking the right ones and kind of just my tune. And I put a lot of work in over the summer on that. That was definitely something that I wanted to improve on. So just the work and kind of just breaking it down from the inside area and then kind of expanding it out. Because if you kind of have the foundation with your form shooting and with your mid range or your set point and small things like that, you can kind of once you get out to the three, it kind of flows more into itself. So. definitely that, but a lot of work as well.
I love that you said from the inside out. You know, some people take threes in a game, they'll miss them, and they just keep shooting them, keep shooting them. And I always say, take a step in. If you're not getting there, take a step in to the arc, get closer to the basket, see the ball go in, then come back out. So I love that you mentioned that. And looking at the team, you said above everything you want to win. The team won a bunch of games in a row, most recently here with six in a row before the loss at Marist 69 to 51. Those wins included a win at Army and included the game against Mercyhurst at home, where Chris Walker was found by Wes Peterson Jr. underneath to have that layup right before time expired there to win 62 to 60. So we got some overtime victories in those back to back against LIU and Lafayette, which were both on the road. So when you look at this most recent 6 game winning streak, what did that say to you about the team? And then, secondly, the loss to Marist ended that streak. How do you make sure that doesn't beat you twice?
I'm starting with the win streak. I think that said a lot about our team because we were in a little rough. We're in a rough moment. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty rough. The coaches were really down. Really angry, and we were kind of down. Um, I think I think something that I was happy that we did. We stayed together. And as a leader, I tried to kind of like bring guys together. I tried to like have little game nights or like have meetings, talk to each other, like just really because I know how when you're losing, everyone just has their own opinion on why you're losing. It's kind of, some thoughts can be selfish. I'm not doing this or this is not happening. I need to do this more. So I think we kind of came together and, we said like, hey, this is like at the end of the day, we're the ones on the court. Like we gotta be able to change this. And I think it started with our practice habits, and then that translated over to getting wins. And I think we had a young group, and I kind of said it. And the crazy thing, I actually said it. And I don't want to. I don't know if the years up. I don't want to have like no LeBron moment where they think I'm lying. Like I actually said this. I told. I think I was talking to Ben, and I said, if once we win one, we gonna like it's gonna start rolling. Like I literally said, I said once we win one, once we get like a division one, once we get that first win, we're gonna roll. Cause we were a young team, like as far as not as far as like age, but as far as experience.
Yeah.
So once you experience that, when you see what it takes to win on a division one level for some guys that that weren't really playing that much at their last schools, once you see that, then it kind of like he's like, oh, okay, this is what it takes. So now you know what to do. So once we got that one win, we just kept it rolling, and obviously the Maris game didn't go as we wanted. It was it was a it was a crazy. I think we shot like 30 something percent from the field. It was crazy. It was a rough game for us, and I think my thought was just kind of like let's not let that loss like take confidence from us. Like we're a great team. We lost. We got to be better. We got to learn from that. But we're a great team. Let's build on it. Let's use this as a learning. Let's learn from it. Let's not let it take us down. Especially now that conference is coming up. Now that these I mean the wins mean something, but now like this is for seeding. This is for if you can get a home playoff game. So now as the stakes are a little higher, so we need that confidence. And I kind of just try to make sure I let guys know and and just know it's going to start in practice and just trying to practice great habits.
And we look at the fact that your next game is in the America East. We're going to jump into AEC play this Saturday, January 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. This game is at home for you and the Bearcats against UMBC. And just bring me into the AEC. Your thoughts on that, like you said, this is a whole new season. You're fighting for playoff seeding. You're fighting for a home playoff game. And if you win the AEC, how it is in Division One, if you win that tournament, you're an automatic bid in the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot on the line in the America East, and you're about to start that road on Saturday. Just what your thoughts are.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see, like excited for our team. A lot of people, so like you said, we got a kind of a young group as far as experience wise. So I'm excited to, see how they react to the environment. I'm excited to see how, teams scout for us and scout for me, just to see how they play. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see how the the league shakes up. Like it's a lot of parity in this league now. Like it's a lot of teams around the same records as far as non-conference, but in the conferences, teams can get hot or certain teams can be hot and then kind of cool off. So I'm really excited to see, what's going on, and I think we're prepared. So I'm ready.
Well, with that being said, we're going to jump into rapid fire. Tymu and I are going to put each other on the hot seat. There's no preparation for this. It's the first questions that we have on our mind, and we got to give our first answer. Tymu, you can ask me anything you want, basketball or something else. What's your question?
I want to ask you something, but I'm scared to see. I'm scared to know your answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Who's the greatest player of all time?
In the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan.
I knew I shouldn't ask that question. I knew I shouldn't
let
ask.
me say this though. You did what I do for the other thing. Like you literally just did what I do. If I asked you and you said LeBron James, I would have been.
Oh gosh. Next. I don't even want to. That's next. You watched them, so okay, I give you credit.
Yeah,
At least you
yeah. I
watched them.
watched. I watched
This
the man
guy's my
fight.
age saying Jordan's the GOAT. Like, bro, you don't even watch them. Like, come on now. But I give you a pass.
Okay. My question. Thank you. I appreciate that. My question back to you is, I got some different thoughts here. I got a lot of different things on my mind. Well, you're from Philly.
Hmm.
So I want to know this. Since I asked people in Philly, I went to a place in Philly. I did not go to the stereotypical places that they tell you to go to. Where is the best cheesesteak in Philly?
That's a lot of different. It's a lot of different opinions there. Personally, I think Max's. I'm from West Philly, so I live like right around the corner from Jim's. They're pretty famous. I like Jim's, but I think I'm gonna go with Max's. Definitely for sure. But there's a lot of different, Ishkabibble. Everybody has their own little thing. Some people like the county areas, they think theirs is better. So I mean, it depends who you ask. Personally, I'm Max's, but it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, it's just stuck on this. But I think it's open. And there's a lot of places I haven't been to as well. So but me personally, I would say Max's.
Well, I think you're going to be happy with me now, and I think that you're not going to walk out on this one. The only one I went to was Max's, and I
Okay.
liked Max's, but I also heard about Ishkabibbles. But
Yeah, Ishkabibble,
yeah, when you
yeah,
said
yeah.
Max's, I'm like, I'm going to totally redeem myself. So, what's your last question for me?
Hmm. I would say, out of all the interviews that you have done, what was the one that you enjoyed the most?
So we do a lot of different shows, and we have a show called Superpowered Pop, which is an entertainment show with actors and actresses and writers and illustrators. I got to talk to the person who created Darkwing Duck, who's like still one of my favorites, was my favorite as a kid, and that's Tad Stones. And I thought, I mean, he that was surreal. But in the sports world, I've had over 5,000 people on the show on Wake Up
Mm.
Call, and I would say, man, some of my favorite conversations with Rob Drummond, who's like a brother to me, played for Syracuse, CFL, NFL. He played at Philly for the Eagles. So I'd probably say Rob just because our conversations are really deep and really genuine and really funny and about God and about life, which so many are. But Rob's he's a brother to me. And I would say Floyd Little, may he rest in peace, because he did a lot for me and he continues to from heaven. And if I had to pick one more, I would probably say probably interviewing my little sis.
Mm.
By blood we're cousins, and but everybody knows us as brother and sister. That's how we act. And so little sis Franny, awesome lacrosse player, better person. We're like the same human being, even though we're 18 years apart. And Franny, just sitting with her and getting to interview her and seeing what she's done with our family name, that means a lot to me. So I'd probably say Franny.
Mm.
So my question back to you, if you took over Wake Up Call for a day and you got to host my show, who are the three people that you would interview and why?
I can interview anybody
Yeah,
or like realistic.
anybody. No, anybody.
LeBron James for sure. LeBron. That's easy. Um, if I could do three, it'd probably be him three. Nah, I'm joking. I'll take LeBron. Um, Personal one that's kind of realistic. I would do Armand because I know it's gonna be hilarious. Because
Okay.
like I know like we would go, it'll be hilarious. It'll go viral probably.
Right.
And then third, it'll probably be Future. That's my favorite artist, so probably Future.
Okay. You mentioned Armand, who obviously has his ties to Binghamton basketball. Why'd you pick him?
Cause he is like they say is like we're like evil twins. So like he's hilarious, and like every time we around each other, we just laugh. So I know like if I interviewed him, we would just cry laughing, and everybody would. It'll be like an enjoyable episode for people to watch for sure.
I love it. Well, Armand, if you're listening and watching right now, I wanted to talk with him too. So let's make it happen, Armand. Let's get you and Tymu here on the broadcast on Wake Up Call together. The
That would
Bear,
be hilarious.
That would be great. It would be better than having LeBron. I'm kidding. I just had to give you
Oh,
that. But no, I would love to talk to LeBron. Bearcat Break Room, Tymu Chenery here. Binghamton men's basketball student athlete here in the 2024-25 season. We are jumping into America East play, and I implore you to go and visit your Bearcats down in Vestal on site, on campus, and of course when they're on the road as well. Tymu, it was the first time that we spoke. I hope it's not the last, and I definitely appreciated it.
yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.